If you're looking to buy a home in the Conejo Valley in 2026, here's the top 10 deal breakers that you should just walk away and not buy the home, no matter how hard it hurts. All right, let's talk about it. I'm Saul Carter. I'm all about business sense, common sense, being that uncommon realtor. And here's my top 10 deal breakers when we're in escrow and I'm representing a buyer. It is a fun list to go through. So here we go. All right, number one on my list is probably the biggest one, and especially it's one of those ones that is super scary. And we run into it in that Conejo Valley area because things are on hills and stilts and all these other places. And what is that? It's foundation problems or even slippage, landslide type items. Those are things you need to look for. And if you find out that there has been slippage or settling or whatnot, then or hillside movement, you need to seriously get out of that deal because you never know how much that is going to cost you down the road or even turn your home into an uninsurable property. And we don't want to go through that. It is one of those things you need to hire a structural engineer and have that stuff checked out, but it is definitely something that if you think it might be a question and it comes up on any inspection, which we always want to do all the inspections, even if we don't plan on doing any repairs or anything like that, we want to know exactly what we're walking into when we're buying a home. Number two is drainage issues. Now, I have seen this and I have personally run into this problem in my home that I bought 2 years ago. We did not know that when it rains hard, there's a whole patio area that just turns into a big lake. And so it took another 10 grand or so for us to fix that. Is that something we should have known about? And can it cause other problems? Yes. So one of the things that it can cause, and well, luckily we did not run into this, but I'm talking from personal experience here, it can actually slip your foundation as well. And so we lucked out, did not run into greater problems with the house, but if that is one of those ones, if you don't have proper drainage part of the year, you're running into huge problems with things like your foundation or other slippage or other, waste of land that you just don't know about. So when you're buying a home in the summer, have your inspector do a little drain test on all the drainage from the backyard to the front yard or wherever it happens to go, and get that inspected. Number three is roof life. And I want to talk about that in so much as it's not just the roof. We want to look in the attic and other areas that are affected by the roof, under the eaves, all those other things. They need to be in good condition. Roof inspectors check all those things. Sometimes they skip attics, so make sure you have that checked out. I've seen lazy guys who do roof inspections and all they want to do is what is seen easily. It's annoying in the summer to go into an attic. In Southern California, it can be very hot. So make sure that they're getting that done. Now, obviously, homes go through roofs and all that stuff. But if you're buying a home and you're kind of in that loan to value range or whatever, that's a little bit tighter, then this can kill your property. You want to make sure. Now, one simple thing to do is you can walk through the home and look at the ceiling. If there's a stain on the ceiling somewhere, make sure that you find out if that's been repaired, get receipts of the repair and how long ago it was. And because if it's showing, it is potentially 2 years old already anyway, or 3. It's crazy how long things in the attic might have been rotting this entire time. All right. Number 4 is HVAC at its end of life. If it is just hanging on, it might be working, but if it is hanging on by threads to do its job, it could be gone the next day. I have seen that more often than I'd like to tell. Probably in the last 7 years, I've probably seen people buy and then literally like in the first week, they're running their AC and it just poof, dies. And so make sure you get all that inspected. And if it is something that is not working, then, or it's at its end of life, that, an HVAC guy cannot come in and guarantee for you how long this is going to last. Even just that ballpark of a couple of years or something like that. Um, just like everything on this list, it doesn't mean you have to walk away, but we want to start using these as negotiation points to get a better deal. So it's not just 100% in your pocket as the buyer. All right. This one, number 5, is electrical hazards. And I've mentioned this on videos before, but if your wiring in your entire property is not up to date, you've got a serious problem on your hands. I have a friend of ours that ended up their entire house burnt to the ground because of a faulty fan that was over their garage. Now, what's interesting about that is they did a whole bunch of renovation and did all the electrical except where? Yeah, over the garage. And so they had wiring that was so old over the garage that it ended up just sparking, and the entire house went up in flames, and it was a crazy thing, and lost everything. Because when your house goes up in flames, it's not like you have the time to go save heirlooms and all those different things. All of it's gone, right? So I would walk away if it's got like wiring that is so old at any moment. And depending on how old that home is, you're very easily can run into some issues with that. A lot of times people skip doing the entire house. They don't worry about the garage as much because there's natural light when they have it open and all these other things, or they just hang something because they don't care about it being ugly. But make sure that the electrical is up to snuff in the entire house. And if it's not, you need to think about walking away. All right. Number 6 is plumbing issues. Now, plumbing issues has a lot more to do. It might be on a slab, it might just be old, right? Things working well. But if it's got lead pipes, same thing as electrical, you want to make sure the entire house is fixed. And that if there's lots of wear and tear, like on the plumbing that you see, just think, or if water flow sucks, all kinds of things can really have some make houses downsides and make it unlivable. If your water pressure is, super low, maybe there's tons and tons of like lime inside all those pipes, and you're going to have to repipe the entire house. It's a bigger deal if it's on a slab. Know some folks that they ended up having to route all of their plumbing through their roof because it was not working at all in their slab, and it's kind of crazy. So anyway, that is a deal killer for me. Plumbing is a huge deal. It can cause all kinds of issues. Broken pipes. I've had pipes break in a bathroom and have flooded out the hallway and three bedrooms. And so that can be a huge expense if you're not aware of it going in, and something busts and it just creates a bigger problem. So plumbing issues that just there's usually signs, extra hard water, lime stains on everything, all that kind of stuff can cause problems. They're all little signs that there could be some bigger problem. So make sure that you're checking all those things out, and it is a walk away thing, right? All right. Number 8 is environmental red flags. That is tanks in the ground or other things like that. Mold is a huge one. Now, we don't get mold as much in Southern California, but closer to the beach, you will. We are pretty lucky where that's concerned. Miami happens to be the mold capital of the entire world. So I'm just saying, but we don't have to deal with that. But we have to deal with a lot of other things, that they have to as well. But old duct wrap, asbestos, acoustic ceilings can be asbestos. Get these things checked out. Any of those environmental hazards, excess mold, that's another reason you want to check in your attic, all those kind of things. You can have huge health issues and not even know why you're you moved into this house and all of a sudden you're just sick 24/7. There could be something in that house that needs to be rectified before you actually can live there healthily. So that is a deal killer for me. I would definitely go through the expense of getting that kind of thing inspected. It's usually about $600 or so, but it's worth it, right? Number 7 is termites, dry rot, and wood destroying organisms. A lot of that can roll right into that plumbing issue, but you want to make sure that all of that is 100% taken care of before you buy the property, because those things are literally going to eat your house out from under you. And it costs a lot of money. Doesn't mean it's not fixable, but this is another thing that if it is out of control in one area, you can kind of expect it to be out of control in the rest of the house. So make sure that you are addressing that and walking away if you need to, because it can kill a deal for me. All of these ones are negotiation points, but definitely wood destroying pests, all that stuff, just a bad deal. All right. Number 9, and this is a huge one for the area, and this goes to insurability, and that is wildfire risk. Is the property a huge risk? Is it even insurable, right? Literally about 10% of the deals in California alone fall out just because people cannot afford the insurance, or they can't even get insurance on the property because of all kinds of issues. Now, there are things you can do to mitigate that, making sure that you have the correct vents on the property, making sure that things are cleared away, the roof type, right? If it's shake, that's a no-go. But if it's, is there defensible space? Now, if there's an HOA, are they taking care of that and maintaining that? Or is that something that you need to do? All of these things are things that you may not have thought about when you made that offer and you got into escrow. Man, you need to have those and have an expert tell you exactly what's going on with all your wildfire risk, because that is definitely something that can be a huge issue for you. You need to make sure that if it's a no-go, it's a no-go, because you don't want to lose your house, because it can get crazy. Did I tell you my cat's in here? Of course, because they're totally quiet. Anyway. All right. And last but not least, and this one can really sneak up on you at the last minute, especially if you're getting a loan on this property. If there is something that is unpermitted, you might not even be able to close on the loan on this property. Now, if you're buying stuff with cash, you can do whatever you want, right? But if you have a loan on the property and there's something that is unpermitted, there's a good chance that you can't even buy the property without it permitted. That doesn't mean the seller can't get it permitted and all that stuff, but it is definitely a deal killer. What are things that are red flags for not having permits? Backyard decks are always one of those ones. ADUs that are not properly put up or didn't get the permits for that. You can actually have a kitchen that doesn't have a permit. Now, that's not a red flag, but I'm just saying there's a lot of little things. But another huge one is those garage conversions. And you just run into that. It's not permitted. A lot of these things you can just strip out, not a problem. But some things you can't, or some things they're kind of sold as a selling property or a selling point on the property. But you definitely want to make sure that you are accounting for that, making sure that everything is permitted in the property. Now, every single one of these can and should be deal breakers depending on what your ratios are going into buying this property. However, they can also be negotiation points. It doesn't mean you have to walk away, but these are things that you should really think about walking away if they compete. And if you've got 3 or 4 of these on here, man, you really need to think about it. Use them as a negotiation point. Be okay with walking away and finding another home, right? All right. Anyway, so if you're looking for any more tips and tricks, go ahead and subscribe. I will talk to you soon. Be sure to give me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. If there's anything I missed or I should point out something a little bit better. All right. I will talk to you soon.